There is just one question that everybody is trying to answer. Why the stock market hasn't crashed yet? The stock market is reaching a new record. The bubble is so huge that everybody is just waiting for that crash, but the crash is not happening for some reason. So a lot of people are wondering why the stock market hasn't crashed yet. We are seeing the biggest bubble in history. Now, this bubble is far bigger than the dot-com bubble. This bubble is far bigger than the 2008 financial crisis. And by the way, the 2008 financial crisis crushed the entire global economy. So what is going to happen when this bubble is going to burst? Over the last 12 months, the S&P 500 has grown by 27%. And this is insane given the fact that historically the S&P 500 grows by about 10%. So this is 3 times than the historical average when the market's supposed to crash. And it makes no sense because we are actually having high inflation. Last month, inflation was 3.8%. And the economy is clearly slowing down. Most of that growth is because of inflation. And the real economic growth is around 1%. So if the economy is slowing down, there is a slowdown in demand by people, by consumers, then why are investors still buying stocks? Because when you see that growth in the stock prices, it is certainly driven by demand. If investors are not buying the stocks, then the stocks would not actually grow. And if investors would start selling the stocks, then the stocks will crash. Let's look at the Buffett's indicator. The stock market has never been as overvalued as it's today. If we go back to the dot-com bubble, it was literally half the bubble that we have today, and the stock market entirely collapsed. If we go to the 2008 financial crisis, it was nowhere close to the dot-com bubble, and it certainly were nowhere close to today's bubble. Even if we look at the COVID bubble, today we have surpassed that COVID bubble. So the stock market is almost 2.5 times more overvalued than it's supposed to be. And yet, in this overvalued market, Warren Buffett himself is investing in AI stocks. If you look at the Berkshire Hathaway's filings for the last quarter, Berkshire Hathaway invested $10 or $12 billion in Google. It is probably his largest investment in recent years. And Google is by far the largest AI company today. Let's look at the PE ratio of the S&P 500. It's anything between 27 and 32. Now, historically, the PE ratio of S&P 500 is anything between 10 to 15. Yes, there are tech companies that have PE ratios of 30 or 35, but on the other side, we have traditional companies such as insurance companies, banks, or maybe auto industry that have PE ratio of anything between 5 to 15. So that balances the average PE ratio to about 10. And now the average PE ratio is almost 30. So the question is that why the stock market hasn't crashed yet when there is literally every single sign that the stock market is overvalued? The answer is very simple. The stock market is broken. The entire global economy is broken, and while the market is broken, it is almost impossible for the stock market to collapse. Now, to understand the stock market, you basically have to understand the entire global economy. The system initially was created so that there is always inflation. So the dollars you have in your savings account, in your bank account, right in your pocket, they consistently lose value because we have created such a system when there is always inflation. If you look at the page of the Federal Reserve, they basically tell you, we have created the system so that there is like an average of 2% inflation. So $100,000 next year will be able to afford $98,000. Then a year later, it will afford loss. And the purpose of this system is to push everybody to invest that money so that money never sleeps. So keeping your money in a savings account is, of course, a losing strategy because every single year that money will buy a lot less things. So the idea is to push the entire economy to keep investing so that money keeps growing. But here's the question, where do you invest that money? We have 2 primary markets. The first one is the bond market, and this is when you invest in debt. This is like you giving money to your friend, and your friend gives you back the money plus the interest. But in this case, you are mostly investing or loaning that money to governments, the US government, the British government, the Japanese government. And because these are governments and they are taxpayers, essentially it's a risk-free investment. So the US government has over 300 million taxpayers. So you know for a fact that if the US government loans you money or owes you money, it will certainly pay it. of course, there is an interest on the top of that. So if the interest rate or that loan is 5%, you loan the government $100. At the end of the year, you will receive $105. And the point of this investment is that is a low risk. So there is literally no risk in investing in bonds, but at the same time, you're actually expecting a very low return. So something slightly more than inflation. If inflation is 2% and you're receiving 3% from the government, from the bonds, then yeah, it's not actually a great investment, but at least your money is still growing faster than inflation, which actually is a good strategy for most people, especially when you're investing like billions of dollars or hundreds of billions of dollars. But for those people who want to build wealth much faster because you're starting small, or maybe you have some cash and you want to multiply it much faster, you would go, of course, to the stock market. Now, stock market isn't like a loan, but rather you're buying shares of the businesses. And if these businesses end up dominating the certain industry, you will make a lot of money. You will make a lot more money because the valuation of that business instantly grows. Of course, there are a lot of more risks that is involved with the business because the business can fail and you have lost your money. But if the business succeeds, now you made 10 times your money, 100 times more money. But you have to understand that with higher returns comes higher risk. So investors typically would invest a portion of their money in the bonds and a portion of their money in stocks. And if stocks become too overvalued, then investors will take that money and invest them in bonds. Then if the stock market collapses and it's now fairly valued, then investors will take the money from the bonds and they will invest them in the stock market. But this system that you see in front of you that has literally existed for God knows how many decades now is not working. The reality on the ground in the market today is completely different. What do we have? Let's look at the bond market. In the bond market, we have huge risks. Every single Western government or every single modern economy today is in a huge risk because they have so much debt. The debt to GDP ratio in the US is 120%. In the UK, it's over 100%. The entire European Union also has a debt to GDP ratio of over 100%, which means that it is very risky to loan them money. But if it's risky to loan them money, they're supposed to pay you higher yields. But they're not paying you higher yields. Inflation last month in the US was 3.8%, while the yields on short-term treasuries were 3.7%. So essentially, you're loaning money to the US government, but you're making as much as inflation. So you are literally making 0% in real returns. So the bond market became extremely risky. At the same time, it's not even paying more than inflation. So if you're an investor with billions of dollars, you see no point in investing in bonds. Now, let's take this and compare it to the stock market. The S&P 500 over the last 12 months has grown by 27%. So you are making really high return. If inflation is 4% and you're making like 27%, you can clearly see that you are making far more than inflation. At the same time, there is literally no risk in the stock market. Wait a second, aren't businesses risky? The problem is that all the top companies that are controlling the S&P 500 became too big to fail. Look at companies such as Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, Meta. They monopolized some industries, and it's almost impossible for somebody to imagine that they will collapse. Let's take Meta. Meta controls Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and there isn't literally a single company in the US or even across the globe, if you don't take the Chinese market, that can directly compete with Meta. So Meta has a complete monopoly on social media. Let's take Google. Google has a complete monopoly on the search engine. Let's take Tesla. Tesla has a complete monopoly on EVs when it comes to the Western markets, if you exclude the Chinese market, because these guys are building stuff that it's impossible for us to imagine. So these are the companies. Nvidia is literally dominating or monopolized the chip market. Apple monopolized the smartphones, Microsoft, and so on and so forth. So we essentially have like 10 companies that are too big to fail. Investing in them is extremely safe because they're not going to go away anytime soon. They're making a lot of money, and at the same time, you're making like far more than inflation. In fact, they made the stock prices impossible to collapse. Now, because each of these companies dominate a certain industry, they make billions of dollars. And what do you think they make with these billions of dollars? They buy their own stocks. So they are taking the money they make and they go to the stock market, they buy their stocks, creating artificial demand for their stocks, which increases the stock price. Now, that attracts other investors to invest because the stock is growing. Because everyone else is investing in the stocks, they're making more money. And because they're making more money, they're investing in new technologies. Because they have new technology, they make billions of dollars. Because they have billions of dollars, they can buy their own stocks much more. It basically have turned into this never-ending cycle that keeps making them rich. In 2024, Apple spent over $104 billion buying back their stocks. In 2025, last year, they spent $100 billion. This year, they're projected to spend another $100 billion just buying back their stocks. Alphabet in 2024 spent $47 billion buying back their stocks. Last year, $70 billion. This year, $65 billion. And I can go on and give you examples of the other big tech companies that are literally doing the exact same thing. So because they're buying back their stocks are very safe because they themselves are creating artificial demand for themselves. So now the markets no longer work the way they did in the past. Now nobody wants to invest in the bond market because in the bond market, the risks are high and the yields are not even covering inflation. While in the stock market, it is very safe. They're creating artificial demand for themselves and you're making far more than inflation. So today the market is no longer working the way it did in the past. I don't think we were in such a situation in the past. But here's the question. Will the market ever collapse again? Well, it is entirely possible if this happens. If the governments are going to fix their budgets and the yields will rise higher than inflation, then the market or the money will flood to the bonds. If the US government now will bring down inflation to 2% and the yields are paying 3.7%, now if you're an investor and you look at the stock market and you're skeptical about the future of the market, on the other side, you have a very safe investment. You can make 3.7% while inflation is just 2%, so it seems a much better investment. That's, by the way, what Warren Buffett has done in 2023, 2024, and 2025. The yields on US Treasuries were about 5.5% because interest rates were so high, and inflation was already going below 4%. So by investing in the US Treasuries, he could make almost 2% of real returns. But because of this situation, Warren Buffett literally took $12 billion and invested in Google because he's no longer making real returns from the bonds. So if governments will fix their budgets, suddenly that money will go to the bond market and the stock market could potentially collapse. Now, the second reason could be is that stock buybacks will slow down because AI investments are not going to pay back. So right now you have these companies such as Google and Nvidia and Tesla are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in building the data centers and the infrastructure. Imagine for a moment that they won't be able to monetize AI the way they planned it, so there is not going to be revenue from that, or the revenue is going to be very limited. Suddenly, these companies have spent all of that money building the infrastructure that is not paying off, so they have less revenue. Now they have less revenue, they can buy a lot less of their stocks, which means that there is going to be less demand for their stocks, which means that the probability of their stocks to crash to a certain level is entirely possible. And that's why you see the news right now that these companies are cutting back on their investments in AI. They're trying to be more careful with their investments. They're trying to make sure that they can easily monetize AI. But even if AI is not going to be as profitable as it could be, it is not going to lead to a huge market crash. The best case scenario, it's only going to lead to a market correction. Why? Because they haven't spent all of their money. They still make hundreds of billions of dollars from other businesses. Take Google. Google makes like $450 billion overall. So if their AI investments are not going to pay off, at least in the short run, they will still make $450 billion from their search engine and from their ads that they're selling across the internet. Hundreds of companies can collapse, but as long as the big tech remains profitable, the market can't crash. So if you look at the S&P 500, there are like 500 companies. Literally 100 or 200 of these companies can collapse, and the entire market is not going to collapse, because literally top 10 companies represent 40% of the entire market. So as long as these top 10 companies keep growing, it doesn't matter what happens to the rest of the market. And that means that individual companies can actually crash, especially in the short run. So if you're invested in the wrong companies, yes, that can crash, but it doesn't mean that it will take down with them the rest of the market. So you have to be very careful in which companies are you investing. In August of last year, I have invested in Oracle and I made 20% because I exited my position on 25th of October. I've literally run a live stream on the Investing Academy and told everybody that I'm investing and this is the great opportunity. I also made a post about it on the Investing Academy that it is literally going to be the easiest money somebody could possibly make. And then on October 25th, I've sold all of my AI stocks, including Oracle, and I made a post around it. So I literally made like 20% on my investment, which was a really great investment. And I was completely right about it because the stock right after that has completely collapsed. But it wasn't the only opportunity. On 16th of February of this year, I invested in Oracle again, and I wrote an entire post on the Investing Academy telling everybody why exactly I'm investing in Oracle, what is my strategy, and why I believe this stock is going to rise dramatically over the next couple of years. And now the stock has risen by 53% since I have purchased the stock, and I made a post literally recently on the Investing Academy that I exited my entire position in Oracle because the price of Oracle is going to collapse very soon. So I made another 53%. Everybody on the Investing Academy who purchased the same stocks that I did and sold them at the time that I did literally made like 70% just on Oracle alone. And I have listed other investments as well that actually did really, really great. So if you threw $100,000, you could have turned it into almost $200,000. If you invested $1 million, you have almost turned it into $2 million. The sky is the limit. Now, investing is a skill. So if you have the right skills and you have the right tools, most importantly, you know how to analyze companies, you know when to buy the company and when to sell the company, and you are going to make a profit, and you won't let Wall Street to fool you and push you to make the wrong investing decision. So if you want to join the Investing Academy, the link is in the description of this video. But here's the great news. We have a limited number of free spots. So if you use the link in the description of this video, you might be able to join the Investing Academy completely for free. The spots are limited, so join while they are available. The link is in the description.